and is in a reasonable place to make top 8 now. And now we move to our secondary match.
This looks very similar to a match I think you had not so long ago. Different players, but we have Vidianto Wijaya, Grand Prix champion on Esper Stormblade. You've got his deck list.
Yeah, he's Esper Stormblade, a deck that he's played a lot. Snapcaster Mage, Stoneford Mystic, and one Vendilion Click, along with an assortment of one-ofs from Counterspell to Vindicate to Ponder to Supreme Verdict to Engineer Exposed to Batterspell to Jitte. And then the typical 4-ofs, 4 Force, 4 Brainstorm, and then he has 3 Jace the Mind Sculptors, 2 Thoughtseize for a little disruption, 2 Inquisition Kozilek, and 2 Lingering Souls. And Viddy's actually up a game with Stoneblade against Andrew, who's playing Dredge, which is pretty surprising because Dredge generally is favored game 1 pretty heavily against Stoneblade.
Yeah. Seems... What's going on here? It looks like Viddy mulliganed pretty heavily here.
Yeah, it looks like Andrew went turn 1.
Oh, I'm hearing he mulliganed 2-3.
Oh, wow. So...
Yeah, that checks out. He's on the draw after winning. He mulliganed to 3. Easy game, boys. We got it.
He's got 2 Surgical Extractions, 2 Relic of Progenitus in his sideboard that can disrupt the graveyard plan.
Ooh, there's one of them right now.
And Andrew played a turn 1 Careful Study, getting rid of 2 Golgari Grave Trolls.
If you look at Andrew's hand, he also has 2 of his Narcomoebas already in the grip, which is actually going to make it a little difficult to, combo Dredge, as it were. He'll probably go the beatdown route. If we look at his list, he has the full amount of Icarids to contribute to that plan. He has Flare of the Hatebound for the burnout potential, and beyond that, his list is relatively stock, the 1 Dread Return. He only has 3 LEDs. I guess that might be non-standard. I'm not an LED expert or anything, so...
So interesting here, he still has the Golgari Grave Troll in his hand. Decided to keep the Narcomoebas despite the fact that he's likely to lose his graveyard
I don't like
this
that.
turn.
I actually probably would have just held the Careful Study. I don't know why we cast it.
Yeah.
Our graveyard was already sweet enough to kill.
Yeah, because basically you know that Viddy's going to, especially on a mulligan to 3, he's going to sack the Relic likely no matter what. Because you already have 1 Dredge guy in your graveyard. It's very risky to, sack the Lion's Eye Diamond in your upkeep because, again, if you hit a Faithful Study, you won't be able to flash it back.
Yeah, so. He doesn't have a way to Dredge otherwise, though.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
but again, probably keeping the Careful Study, probably could have just dredged one.
That is why I keep the Careful Study.
Yeah.
Definitely there was no need to play it.
If you have 2 Golgari Grave Trolls, I think dredging one of them last turn is probably a little bit better than casting Careful Study, but
I agree.
Playing a little conservatively here.
That was a strange pattern for him. Viddy just struggling to turn into a game of Magic.
Yeah, no mana here, and again, it's Andrew doesn't have a discard outlet here, so it's still going to be tough for him to actually. He's going to have some really good dredges over the next few turns, which I don't think he has even any. He might have a. Is it a Life from Loam in the graveyard?
No, those are Nature's Claims.
I know there's 2 Nature's Claims. I can't see the other graveyard, but it looks like.
Looks like 3 Nature's Claims actually.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how many more Dread Enablers he has in his graveyard, but again, we might get to the point where Andrew's going to have to just start drawing cards, and if he top decks a Lion's Eye Diamond, that's huge. But again, beyond that, it's once the Dredge deck starts drawing cards for the turn, it's never a place it wants to be in. So. Viddy's still Landlight though, which is one of the main things.
That's a new art on Golgari Thugger
or
something, yeah. That's what we missed. So he does have that Dredger, but now he's officially bricked. He has Narcomoeba.
All right.
He'll have to Cabal Therapy himself.
He could Spell Pierce this.
He should Spell Pierce this.
Yeah, Viddy could Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce isn't going to be doing much for him later
This is
in the
as
game.
good as it gets, yep.
Yeah,
Viddy knows that. He's Spell Piercing.
All right, so that Goblin's going to be doing a lot of work. And again, Andrew could just top deck a Lion's Eye Diamond and be in pretty good shape. But Viddy has a Brainstorm here, trying to dig for some more lands.
If he can pop this graveyard, or get a way to pop this graveyard one more time, then...
and pretty good Brainstorm here. He draws 2 lands, one of them being a sack, so he can get rid of some of the subpar cards in his hand right now with... by putting him on top of his deck and sacking the Marsh Last to search for a Tundra.
Yep.
again, Wasteland not being a card that he has to fear out of Andrew's deck. But yeah, it looks like Andrew has to start drawing cards normally here, and it's, again, bad spot for the... Oh, he's going to bring back an Icarus now, and drawing card for turn. Drew a Stinkweed Imp, it looks like, so attack for 5, and again, with no discard outlet, he really doesn't have another way to fuel the Icarus next turn.
Yeah, he's all out of dredgers and all out of black creatures as well.
Yeah, and this is a pretty bad spot for him because Vinny's starting to hit his mana now. We know he has a Jace the Mind Sculptor. We know he has a Stoneforge Mystic, which can get a Batter Skull and totally just really put Andrew against the wall. But again, Andrew can still top deck a card like Lion's Eye Diamond, which would be really huge for him, allowing him to discard his hand, all those Dread Enablers, and flashback Fatal Suiting.
Vidi is probably going to be planning to Swords Icarus when it comes back in the upkeep to.
I don't think he can. I don't think he can bring back the Icarus in his upkeep. I don't think. He has
he needs. When he uses the black creatures, he's holding on to his swords right now. I imagine he's planning to aim that at Icarus. He could have used it to prevent Andrew's clock.
Yeah.
I guess he's not that worried about it. He's willing to fall to 8, 7 life, something in that range before deploying the Batter Skull.
So short of a top deck Lion's Eye Diamond here, not really sure there's many cards that Andrew can draw. Scepter Coliseum's good, but again, it's basically just going to enable his dredge next turn.
Well, if he draws a diamond,
Diamond,
that's the big game.
Diamond's huge, but
he just got a lot of redraws.
He's not going to be able to dredge right now. He's got 3 draw steps right here. And
that's
there's Lion's Eye Diamond. So now this is the ideal situation for Andrew. This is the turn where he needed that. So
I think we needed to pitch all of our dredgers.
Well, you're gonna pitch everything.
Oh yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. You're right.
Doesn't really matter that much. Flashback, Fatal Suiting. Again, he doesn't have that many Narcomoebas left in his deck to hit.
Yeah, he has 1.
Yeah, he hit another bridge from below. He does know about the Batter Skull in his hand, so he could name Batter Skull.
That's an Ancient Grudge for that Batter Skull.
Interesting.
Doesn't have any lands anymore, so that's not going to matter much.
So, yep, the Ball Therapy, maybe naming Batter Skull is the only card he really knows of.
So now he's got plenty of black creatures, not cornucopia or anything, but a few. Looks like at least 4-ish to feed 2 Icarids, I think.
Again, it's tough though. Without a Narcomoeba, he can't really flashback a Cabal Therapy and generate any value getting more zombies.
Right.
And we know about the Swords to Plowshare, so if Vidi just plows the Icarus next on his upkeep, then he's not going to get any zombies off of that either. He will get another dredge, but still, even despite the fact that he drew a Lion's Eye Diamond there, the fact that he milled most of his Narcomoebas, he drew 2 of his Narcomoebas in his opener, really hurt him now.
Do you think Vidi should go ahead and just Jitte up here, his Stoneforge Mystic? Like, if he attacks, the block will remove all the bridges, and give him counters on a Jitte. If he doesn't block, then he can just kill the Icarids in the upkeep anyway.
Yeah.
That's like another line.
He doesn't have enough mana. He really wants to plow. He wants to plow the Icarus so Andrew doesn't get any.
I know he wants to plow, but like if he, well, yeah, I guess he has too many bridges now. Because the thing you'd have to just kill your Stoneforge if you did it.
Yeah, right. and I like just waiting a turn because he can just put the Jitte in the play at the end of the turn if he wants.
If he only had 1 bridge, I think I would like the Jitte better, but.
I don't want to.
You probably just have to kill your Mystic at this point, and then you'll take 8 damage, go to 4.
I don't want to really lose my Mystic here, I don't think.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, he only has, if he had more than 1 Icarus, but I believe he only has 1 Icarus.
I think he has 2. He has
he does have 2.
One here, and then 1 up at the top.
That changes things. In that case.
That is also a factor for sure.
Yeah, that kind of changes things here. He might have to just...
Looks like Vidi is going to cast and equip. Oh, he's going to go for the attack. Oh. Okay. It's aggressive. He's not worried about dying next turn. So now just the decision is what's he going to do, Pass. I imagine he may give Andrew the opportunity to sacrifice one of his Icarids to something, Like wait until he actually hits.
Andrew probably attacks first, though. you'd imagine. With Vidi at 12.
I imagine he does, but Andrew's made some plays that we didn't expect in this game, and Vidi might be able
there's
to
a Dread
capitalize.
return and a Narcomoeba and another Icarid. So
we are in tough shape now.
yeah, that's Vidi's gonna have to start thinking about what he wants to do now.
I don't think the swords would be better than this. Like he's got just too many guys now. That's
Yeah.
4 creatures in play. The swords can't stop it. Couldn't have stopped it. The Jitte can't stop it.
With 3 bridge from belows, that's
Man. This was an incredibly tight game for a mull to 3 from Vidi.
Yeah. So attacking for 8 here.
He doesn't have his Flare of the Hatebound, so he can't just kill him, but he can make a lot of zombies. And a very large grave troll, I assume. Yeah, he's gonna kill.
And he kills the Stoneforge in response to the
at end of turn trigger. But if I were Andrew, I think
I thought he would have brought back.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
he knows Vidi's hand. He saw it last turn. You know, like now we've just got this Narcomoeba, and like I don't know. Do we just Jace bounce Narcomoeba, keep up swords for an Icarid? That leaves us dead, we can't do
another
that.
land. He has another land here.
Yeah.
He can bounce the token.
He mounts the token, but he's still dead to both Icarids coming back. Yeah, he's got a brainstorm. And no help.
Doesn't look like there's anything else. Yeah, so looks like double Icarid's going to come in to seal the deal.
I think Andrew may have been, deciding to play on Supreme Verdict or something there by not getting back the Icarids, but I don't think that's reasonable. Like your Icarids are going to live anyway because they stay in the graveyard. So
yeah, I mean,
I would have just dread returned something big, get a bunch of zombies, lock it up.
Well, the thing is, because Vidi can't even respond, right? Because the triggers will already be on the stack. So probably just try to get the zombies there.
He could respond by killing the Mystic. But to get rid of the bridges, but like you still get the giant fatty, right? So like, and then what's he gonna do?
But Dread Return is part of the cost, right? The sacrifice.
It's part of the cost, but in response to the triggers, Vidi can kill off his Mystic.
But the triggers would still be on the stack.
Yeah, but they only resolve if bridge is still in the graveyard. That's the trick of it. So he'd basically be burning the Dread Return. He would lose. Like he would lose the bridges, but he was going to lose them anyway, so it's not an actual loss.
He loses a Narcomoeba. So he basically upgrades a Narcomoeba to a Golgari Grave.
Right, or whatever he wants. Yeah, it could be. He could pick a different creature if he wanted to. I don't think he should. But the real trade there is, you're just trading Dread Return in for that, and when you're literally there are no more Narcomoebas left in your entire deck, that seems like a fine trade.
Yeah,
he was on the last one.
You kind of see just how good the matchup is for Dredge. Again, Vidi was on 3, but still managed to fight through a Relic of Progenitus activation.
Vidi, his early stumbles really cost him. That game felt like he was a turn away from taking control.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew top decking that Cephala Coliseum was huge.
Yeah, he had a few outs. He had two LEDs because he only runs 3, plus 4 Coliseum for redraws. He doesn't run any street race or anything like that, so. 6-ish outs plus breakthrough is another one. So I think he'd milled 1 breakthrough at that point, so probably 9-ish.
Well, breakthrough would have basically just allowed him to discard his hand. Yeah. Obviously, the nut card was Coliseum or
those cards were definitely better.
Yeah.
Along the same lines, like a Cobalt Therapy could have maybe been about as good as a breakthrough. So yeah, we'd say he has he had about 10 cards, I'd say, that were pretty good, and then 6 that were insane.
Yeah. So, game 3, Vidi gets to be on the play now. And again, Vidi can be aggressive with his mulligans. There's only a few cards that really matter in this matchup. Surgical Extraction's good, not great, but certainly a card that he wants in his opener. Same with Relic of Genesis. Beyond that, not much else in his deck that he really cares about.
Yep. Going to a game 3. I imagine Vidi's hoping to start on more than 3 cards. That's probably among his plans.
And so looks like Andrew is going to, not sure how aggressive Andrew has to be with his mulligans. Generally, you see Dredge just really try to be hyper aggressive, but if you see him keep, you know something's in. If your Dredge player is keeping a 7, you're in trouble.
Yep, and it looks like they're both going to 6. I think that's especially true in post-boarded games. Once they know the hate they're up against and how they have to play, a keep on 7 just implies they already have a solution planned out.
Yeah. So both players mulliganing again. Means different things. Vidi's always going to mulligan aggressively until he gets to sideboard cards. Andrew mulligans just because his deck can do it. You know, his deck can afford to mulligan a couple of times and still be very active on turns 1 and 2. So this is what we saw in the last round too, when we saw the blue-white player play against Dredge. Both players mulliganing, you know, it's Andrew can probably afford to mulligan a little bit better than Vidi. You know, granted, Vidi has some hateful cards, but he doesn't have a card like Rest in Peace or anything. You know, Relic is good, but it's basically a one-time shot use. So if Andrew plays correctly, he can sort of minimize the damage that occurs there. Kind of same thing with Surgical Extraction to an extent. But again, I think mulliganing here in general will favor the Dredge player. So here we go, both players checking to see if they're happy with their 6. Vidi is on the play, so he will have to act first. And can't tell from either of the reactions. Andrew, that hat just makes Andrew look upset no matter what. So looks like Andrew is keeping. Both players are keeping.
Vidi, it looks like began with Academy Ruins, not ideal.
Andrew has Lion's Eye Diamond, which is
ideal.
And a second, which is very ideal. And a Cephalid Coliseum. If he has a Dredge Enabler, then he's got the world.
Yeah.
He's got the Faithless Looting, but no Dredge Enabler, it looks like. So, pretty unfortunate.
Yeah. I see a Faithless Looting in his hand, so it's possible he's just waiting on bigger game or doesn't have a Dredger.
Yeah, I don't think he's a Dredge card. That's the thing.
I see Putrid Imp, I see Icarid, I think I see Nature's Claim.
What kind of hand did Vidi keep here? He's a
He kept a Surgical Extraction. That's what he kept.
Surgical Extraction, and that's it. Okay.
Like, he also has Brainstorm, Stoneforge Mystic Sword, so whatever land he hits will actually be good for him. But he does have to hit one, and he has just a little bit of disruption in the meantime.
Oh, so he has the option to extract the Icarids, but...
I think what he may want to do is, I think he's going to wait until Andrew pops the diamond and then extract the Faithless Looting is probably what he's planning.
Yeah, but the thing is, Andrew doesn't have to pop both of them, and he still has the Coliseum as a Dredger. So
that's true.
That's really the ideal situation for him. So
Vidi is in a high variance spot now. Oh, Breakthrough.
Oh, okay. So finally draws a Dredge Enabler in Bulgari. Looks like Bulgari Thug.
Yeah. He's popping LED in response to casting Breakthrough. I imagine he's floating red, although we don't actually know. Oh,
and he's got the Flare and a Cabal Therapy.
And no more Dredgers, so he's just going to draw and then discard.
So he's got 3 red in his pool. I wonder if... okay, so he allows him to Flashback Therapy. Flashback.
Yeah, once the Breakthrough resolves, Vidi lost his priority to actually use Surgical Extraction on Faithless Looting, so Andrew just immediately declares, I'm casting it with this mana before anything else.
He's yet to hit a Narc Amoeba.
Discards those. He's going for it again.
So really needs Narc Amoeba here, so he can Cabal Therapy, naming Extirpate probably, to sort of...
I imagine Vidi's going to just, hopefully, he only wants to see one Narc Amoeba come out, and then he just extractions it on the spot.
Wow, still no Narc Amoeba. Going through a significant portion of his deck here. Yet to...
5, there's a Narc Amoeba, and he needs not a 6th one. Okay, so now this one Narc Amoeba is probably a ripe target for extraction. I'm not sure, but...
I mean, this is the tough thing about extraction here. It's like... He's going to get a lot of zombies here. Do you extract the bridge from below?
Yeah, Vidi is responding. He's going for the bridges. Okay.
Yeah. So this is pretty good here.
Yeah. Now he just has to beat all those Icarids. If he draws a Snapcaster Mage, I actually like his spot just fine.
Oh yeah, but he doesn't have the land.
Right.
He needs to draw a land and a Snapcaster.
Brainstorm can get him there, so he needs to land first, but...
well, if I would name Brainstorm for sure with the Cabal Therapy at that point in response.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I would assume Vidi had one, but I don't know if I would name it first. It looks like he probably named a hate card, like Relic or something. No, not Relic.
Huh?
Force. Okay,
So
he named Force.
Which is odd.
I
but
would
again, it's reasonable given given you know what his plan is. But yeah, if your plan is just bringing back Icarids every turn, what do you care about Force? You know.
Yeah. That's what I would transition to here if I'm Andrew. Just plan to beat my opponent.
Get those Icarids in play. I mean, you have multiple Icarids. That's a 2-turn clock.
Yes, it is.
And you can still dredge. You have plenty of dread enablers in your graveyard. So, are you dredging? He chooses not to dredge.
It's possible his library's depleted enough. He's genuinely concerned about decking. I'm not sure.
Probably flashing back dread return, targeting hate bound.
Yeah. That does appear to be what he's going for.
Flashback, and that's game.
Yeah.
So
excited.
So that's obviously why he named Forcible.
That makes sense. All right. So that match was interesting. I think it kind of displayed how much you need to consider, aggressively mulligan.